Welcome to this second episode of my 7-round mock draft series. I asked you guys to vote for your team in the comments of my Cardinal 7-rounder, and not only did 49ers come out in droves, but a number of people from other fan bases requested that I just go in order, so that's what I'm going to do here. But I wanted to wait until free agency kicked in so that I didn't make a whole bunch of 7-round mock drafts that ended up getting all of those initial needs filled in by free agents and whatnot. And it's a good thing too, because the 49ers were big players in the free agency period with Quan Alexander, Tevin Coleman, D Ford, Jason Verrett. Here are a few things that I tried to keep in mind when drafting as John Lynch and head coach Kyle Shanahan. Now, their offensive philosophy, it is a kind of a run-pass mix. They run a lot of zone-heavy runs, and they focus on short to intermediate passing game. Defensive philosophy is a 4-3 under with where they rush 4, and they use a lot of cover 3 concepts. Now, John Lynch loves players with high spark scores. You can look at George Kittle with a 143 in the 97th percentile, Solomon Thomas with a 141, Witherspoon, the cornerback, had a 133, Matt Breida had a 142, and Tavarius Moore had a 134. So the guy really likes athletes on the field. His draft board's also set by best player available and not need. Nobody mocked Mike McGlinchey last year to the 49ers at number 9, so the fact that they took him really shocked everybody because nobody looked at right tackle as their number 1 need. And another thing with the John Lynch era is that at least one of the first 3 picks will probably be traded because that's just the way he's done things. He likes to move and groove up and down the draft board. So here's what I will say are some of the needs here for the 49ers. Even after trading for D Ford, I think that edge rush is still a big need because you just don't know what you're going to get out of Solomon Thomas, and I don't really know how D Ford's going to fit into the scheme. It was kind of a weird pickup. I'm assuming he's going to play the Leo spot and he's going to play that wide 9 out. Right now they've got a lot of 3 technique defensive tackles on their roster, and I'm including Solomon Thomas there because I think that might be where he fits best if he was to put on a little bit of weight and shift inside. But then they've got Eric Armstead and DeForest Buckner, who is probably up for a extension soon. Another need that they have is a Z wide receiver, somebody that can separate. Pettis is great. I really like Pettis. I don't know if he's a great number 1. I don't know if they're going to find a number 1 in this draft unless they take him at number 2 overall. Another need that they have is interior offensive line. They need an agile athlete, maybe an offensive tackle that can play guard until Staley retires. I'd love to see them get another safety. A single high free safety would be awesome. And then a linebacker. Even after signing Quan Alexander, I really think that another linebacker is going to be key for them, just in case Quan Alexander stays hurt again. And then an underrated need, or I don't know if it's underrated, it actually seems like it might be a little overblown. Another need that they have is another cornerback that fits the scheme. You just don't know what you're going to get out of Richard Sherman. He definitely did not look like the old Richard Sherman last year, so we'll see. A couple of under the radar prospects that are already on their roster. These are guys that I expect from a front office perspective are going to take a leap in their second or third year in the league, or second or third year with the team, and that is cornerback Tavarius Moore. He was originally drafted, I thought, as a safety. He's a guy that I could see playing either of those positions still, and I expect him to take a little bit of a step forward. Last year's defensive tackle Julian Taylor, quarterback Nick Mullins, wide receiver Trent Taylor, and offensive guard Laken Tomlinson. With the second pick in the first round, I could see the 49ers taking Ohio State edge rusher Nick Bosa. It sounds like Kyler Murray is going to go number 1 overall to somebody, whether it's the Cardinals or somebody that trades up for him, and Nick Bosa just makes too much sense here. I still can't believe the 49ers are going to come away with who I think is the best player in this draft after blowing their tank job, but that's the way it goes in the draft when everybody wants a quarterback. I did a scouting report on Nick Bosa a while back, but I'll put a link in the description and in the top right here. You should go check that out after this if you guys are interested, because it looks like you might be getting him. The 49ers definitely need to continue to add to their wide receiving core, and this is about as early as I see them addressing the position. This draft is really deep at wide receiver, so they could even pass it until the 3rd or 4th round even. At one point in one of the drafts of this mock, I actually had Texas A&M center guard Eric McCoy, and just go ahead and solidify that offensive line now. But I actually think that Marquise Goodwin makes a little bit more sense because he has probably got one of the higher ceilings as a guy that sort of fits this offense and what they want to do here, and just offers another level of deep threat that nobody else in this draft offers. Florida's safety Chauncey Gardner-Johnson was also a guy that I had pegged here and could still be an option for them if they wanted to address the secondary first. I just don't know if they value the safety position enough here. In the third round with pick number 67, I have them selecting Elgton Jenkins out of Mississippi State. This is a guy that's actually severely underrated, I think, by the average Joe, but when it comes down to it, we could see this guy actually end up going a little bit higher than this. And this is why this was kind of the ideal scenario that I cooked up for the 49ers, where I mentioned earlier that I had them taking Eric McCoy in the second round just to be safe. Obviously, they could take Elgton Jenkins there too if they wanted, if they really liked the guy. And then in the third round, I had them taking Mizzou wide receiver Emmanuel Hall. Now, the reason that I don't have them doing that is Emmanuel Hall reminds me a little bit too much of Pettis. I don't know if he really offers you any kind of a different skill set there. And I think that they actually like their interior offensive linemen a little bit more than people know. The guys they have on their roster just couldn't stay healthy last year. I don't think you go into a new season anticipating guys not staying healthy, and I think that you assume when you've got 3 guys or so that you feel confident in 1 or 2 of them taking over and being healthy, that you don't overvalue the position. And that's why I have them going Marquise Goodwin in the second round, and why I have them going Elgton Jenkins in the third round. In the fourth round with pick number 104, I have the 49ers selecting Duke linebacker Joe Giles Harris. Even though they added Quan Alexander to play alongside Fred Warner in free agency, they'll probably grab another young prospect early in the draft. Duke's linebacker Joe Giles Harris fits the athletic mold that John Lynch likes. He's a reliable tackler and would be able to play middle linebacker if Quan Alexander goes down with another injury, which is something that he's really struggled throughout his NFL career with so far. So they're going to need a backup plan there just in case, because the cupboard is pretty bare. In the sixth round with pick number 176, I have them selecting Kentucky cornerback Derek Beatty. So while I mentioned that I think that they're better at cornerback than they're given credit for, that doesn't mean that they shouldn't prepare for a scenario where Richard Sherman doesn't bounce back and the young prospects don't pan out. I'm still not sure which of these Kentucky cornerbacks I like more, or which one would still be available in the sixth round. I'm leaning towards Derek Beatty being the guy that falls back compared to Lonnie Johnson. Both are long cornerbacks that are perfect fits for this defense, and while Lonnie Johnson's probably going to get drafted earlier, his teammate Derek Beatty would be a solid option in the sixth round here. With their second pick in the sixth round, number 212, I have the 49ers selecting Stanford running back Bryce Love. The Shanahan family has been known as running back whisperers, and I would love to see Bryce Love fall into a situation like this. It's such a shame because it wasn't that long ago that I mocked him to the Ravens in the back half of the first round of a way too early mock draft. After a Heisman candidate quality season in 2017, he had a down year in 2018, and then capped it off with just such an unfortunate torn ACL in their bowl game, so he probably won't even play it down in 2018. This might remind 49ers fans of Marcus Lattimore, but just because that didn't work out doesn't mean that they should avoid taking a chance on a guy like Bryce Love. His torn ACL wasn't quite as tragic as Lattimore's. He's still only 21 years old, and the 49ers have a few running backs to contribute in 2019, so put him on ice for a year, get him ready to contribute for 2020. What I'm seeing though early on is that Bryce Love seems to be everybody's favorite pick for a 5th, 6th, 7th round draft pick in all of the 7-round mocks that they do. So I wouldn't be surprised if Bryce Love ends up going a lot higher than this, but this draft is just so deep at running back, wide receiver, cornerback. Any of those 3 positions could fill the 6th round of the draft for the 49ers. That's going to do it for my 49ers 7-round mock draft. This is one of my shorter videos, I know, but if I'm going to churn out some of these and really jump around and get through some teams here with these 7-round mock drafts, I've got to kind of break it down a little bit shorter than I usually do, guys. Can't be as long-winded as typical. I appreciate you guys watching. The goal for this video is going to be 500 likes. Please hit that like button. It really helps me out. Once I hit that 500 like mark, I will make the Jets 7-round mock draft video. But if there is a team that you would like for me to jump around and do next, go ahead and ask me to do your team in the comments below. If more people request a specific team than the Jets, I will jump around and do a specific team. I'm talking to you Cowboys fans. Where you at? Where you at, Cowboys fans? Get at me. Get in the comments. Ask me to do a Cowboys 7-round mock draft because I'm psyched and I'm ready to do it. And I will see you all in the next video.